A Tale of Two Agents in Three Scenarios, Part 3. Here come the line gang, pioneering by. They throw a forest down, less cut than broken. They plant dead trees for living, and the dead they string together with a living thread. They string an instrument against the sky, wherein words, whether beaten out or spoken, will run as hushed as when they were a thought. But in no hush they string it. They go past with shouts afar to pull the cable taut, to hold it hard until they make it fast. To ease away, they have it, with a laugh, an oath of towns that set the wild at naught. They bring the telephone and telegraph. The Line Gang, Robert Frost. This podcast is a communication. A Tale of Two Agents is a modest thought experiment, an experiment in what we can call ordinary information. That is, information simply communicated between persons. Is information of this kind, is what we're calling ordinary information, physical? It's a controversial question. We call it ordinary to allow ourselves the informal elbow room to think carefully, without impinging on the formal meanings held in various technical disciplines. This in mind, is the information passed from Agent Sparrow to Agent Robin an example of physical information? Let's start by thinking about the signal. Offhand, it certainly seems to be. The total physical circumstances that comprise the represented information consist of the plant and the balcony, or rather, of the position of the plant in relation to the balcony. There seems to be no way to communicate this information, at first known only to Agent Sparrow, without some intervening physical representation of it. We could say this is not unique. If we were telepathic, I would not bother with a microphone and you would not bother with a playback device or headphones. You would help yourself directly to my thoughts. As it seems my mind is not directly third-person accessible, if you want to know what I intend to say, I will have to speak, introducing sound waves into the mutually accessible physical situation such that you may hear me. Physical representation, then, is necessary. But is it information? Let's start with scenario 1. This first scenario provides us with the straightforward example of information passed from agent to agent. Sparrow is the sender and puts the plant outside to give the signal. Robin, the receiver, passes by the balcony and, seeing the plant on the balcony, acquires the news. He learns something. That's scenario 1. However, we might note that even in this first scenario, there are clues that something is not quite right. For example, the plant on the balcony is publicly accessible, but the information it conveys is not. It does not inform everyone who sees it. Several persons may have noticed the withering plant on the balcony, but had only ordinary thoughts about it, if any at all. Thinking all of this through, the idea that the information is objectively in or is identical with the physical circumstance seems a little suspect. Scenario 2. In scenario 2, Sparrow dies, and unknown to Agent Robin, the maid puts the plant on the balcony. Agent Robin passes by, sees the plant, and thinks he has been informed that the rumored assassination is true. After all, this is the signal. The physical circumstance, the plant being on the balcony, seems for the moment to both A, contain the information in itself, or rather be the information, and B, to convey it, that is the information, what we're calling ordinary information, to Agent Robin. However, later when he discovers that the maid, and not Agent Sparrow, had placed the plant on the balcony, he realizes the truth. He has not been informed at all. The plant was moved by the maid. He knows nothing about the rumored assassination. Now, the position Agent Robin finds himself in at the end of scenario 2 reminds me of seeing animals in clouds, or of a Facebook post claiming to have discovered the image of Elvis or of Jesus on burnt toast. When someone posts, say, the picture of Elvis in Aloha from Hawaii jumper, I admit I am a doubter. But let's be introspective. What do I mean, I wonder, when I say I am a doubter? I do not think I am expressing doubt about the existence of a historic Elvis. I might mean that some claimed image of Elvis, as seared into the Wonder Bread, does not look very much like Elvis at all, at least to me. After all, half of his hair is missing, and he has what looks like Salvador Dali's mustache. Yet, even if the image were a better match, even a perfect match, I would still be in doubt. I wonder what I would mean in this case by doubt. I think I would mean something like this. I would mean, I don't doubt that it looks very much like Elvis, but I believe that it looking like Elvis is a coincidence. That is, to bottom line it, I do not believe that this is an intended message from anywhere or from anyone to anyone who intended to create or to convey the likeness of anything. In this vein, what Agent Robin discovers is not that a plant was not really on a balcony. It was. What he discovers instead is that there was no intending sender, let's say, behind the physical circumstance. Although he seems at the start of the scenario to acquire the information directly from the physical circumstance, when he does not perceive this intending sender behind it, as it were, then the same physical circumstance does not justifiably inform. But the maid putting it out is exterior to the physical arrangement itself. It's outside of the physical representation. Yes, Agent Robin seems to be reading information out of the physical circumstance. Instead, though, what he is reading is what he meaningfully assigns to the circumstance. It is him who determines it as meaningful, and on this basis extracts meaning only seemingly from it. In the case of ordinary information, physical reality is like a piggy bank. We shake it and hear the coin inside. There is information in there, yet there is nothing to take out that we did not ourselves deposit. We can put it in a second way that is even clearer, I think. Imagine that the maid, in scenario 2, had placed the plant in the identical location that Sparrow placed the plant in scenario 1. In this way, in both cases, the physical circumstance would be identical. Yet in one case, it would apparently be physical information, and in another, the same physical circumstance, would be entirely devoid of information. Therefore, the information cannot be objectively in the physical circumstance. The circumstance is the totality of the representational form, and it is physical, but it is only perceived as validly informing based on factors exterior to the representation itself. It is not physical information. This is an odd thought, I admit, but it reminds me amusingly of being in a large crowd at the solar eclipse viewed responsibly through special lenses. What if some member of the crowd, Sesame Street-like, had proclaimed at the moment of the full eclipse, "It's the letter O"? How would you respond? The eclipse was not the letter O. But the reason it was not the letter O was not because the visible circle of emanating light was not sufficiently round or was not sufficiently well formed, etc. Even if identical in form to an O, identical, we would not be justified in saying that it was the letter O by virtue of the fact that behind what we recognize as a letter must be an intending sender, someone meaning to convey the symbol. That seems to be what we would require for it to be, rather than just look like, as we might prefer to say, that symbol. Yes, it looks like an O. No, it is not an O. Yet again, in each case, the physical aspect might really be identical. Is ordinary information a counterexample to physicalism, or is there more to the story? It seems to me, more importantly, that it is a counterexample to the efficacy of a world perceived through exclusively objective outlook, assuming that what I intend in here to communicate is an example of something real, then the apprehension of it seems to require ordinary human subjectivity. If you wish to know this sound as it really is, you will not find any words objectively in it. But if, on the other hand, you wish to know what I mean, what I intend, who I am, attend through the subjectivity of what seems to be, to these words. Here I am, speaking human.